Unless you happen to be immensely wealthy, unlikely, there are about just 5 options left for you when searching the market for an all-new convertible car. This is weird, because just 20 years ago, affordable cabriolets went through a bit of a renaissance thanks to the advent of retractable hardtops. Instead of using folding fabric roofs, as had been the standard for decades, the industry shifted to all-metal designs, with both mainstream and premium brands getting in on this. To many, it seemed like the natural evolution for convertible cars. Instead of a roof that you could stick a knife through and easily get access to everything inside, retractable hardtops offered much better security, possibly better weatherproofing, and all of this topped off with coupe-like styling. In the mid-2000s, most European manufacturers had at least one cabriolet with a metal folding roof in its lineup, with certain American brands also getting in on the craze, and by 2004, Americans were buying nearly twice as many convertibles as they had been in 1990. But now, in the mid-2020s, this isn't even close to being the case anymore, because they're all dead. While convertibles overall are kind of dead, hardtop convertibles are really dead. Relics of a bygone era. So, let's have a look at the rise, fall, and eventual leaking of the hardtop convertible. Believe it or not, metal folding roofs were not invented 30 years ago, or even 31 years ago. Indeed, they came to exist about 90 years ago when a Frenchman by the name of Georges Paulin patented his concept of a foldable metal roof, a patent which was bought by Peugeot around 1935, which then launched the very first production hardtop cabriolet in the world. The Peugeot 402 BL Eclipse Décapotable. Well, the word production there might be overselling it a bit. About 470 of these were built in total. A few other models with low production numbers followed, but eventually the concept faltered and Peugeot went back to not making hardtops. As for Paulin, he was shot by Nazis, unfortunately. Through the following few decades, automakers still dabbled with designing automatically folding metal roofs, showing their designs off through concept cars, although in 1947, a small New York-based company started production of the Playboy convertible. But again, production is a generous word to use. About 97 of those were made in total, and none of them originally made it to the hands of customers. Although the Playboy Automobile Company did manage to make a dent in pop culture, just not directly, as its name was the direct inspiration for Hugh Hefner when naming Playboy magazine. Yeah, talk about hardtop. Imagine driving a convertible with the top down in a busy city, having all of your personal belongings and valuables sitting openly in the passenger seat. That's what browsing the internet without an encrypted connection is like. This is where private internet access comes to rescue, a VPN service that creates a secure encrypted tunnel between your device and the internet, leaving your IP address hidden from others and protecting your personal data from hackers, internet service providers, and others. If that doesn't sound enticing enough, private internet access also allows you to access region-locked content from across the world. If you're in the US, then good luck trying to watch The Office on Netflix, for example. But just change your location to, I don't know, Sweden, and would you look at that, it's The Office on Netflix. Go to piavpn.com/Corsicar to get 83% off your purchase, plus an additional 4 free months. And hey, look at that, they've got a 30-day money-back guarantee. Check the link in the description or the pinned comment for more. This has been a message from Private Internet Access. In 1948, Ford stylist Gilbert Spear conceived a retractable hardtop concept, getting the attention of William Clay Ford, head of Ford's Special Products division. Ford saw potential for the design in the upcoming Continental Mark II and wanted the car to feature a production-ready mechanism. So Ford's engineers devised a two-section folding system, which may sound simple but featured a highly complex system of 7 electric motors to automate the 40-second process of lowering the roof. Sounds good. However, money. The Mark II was already expensive, but at least it was unprofitable as well, making the retractable hardtop an even harder sell. To Ford's higher-ups, that is. The project would be cancelled, but an effort was made to salvage the $2.2 million investment. For the 1957 lineup, Ford introduced the Fairlane 500 Skyliner, a variant offered in the Fairlane model range. The very first mass-produced hardtop convertible. It also wasn't very popular, making up a total of 1.3% of Ford's sales in 1957, when it sold about 21,000 units. Instead, Ford saw it as a bit of a halo model, alongside with the recently introduced Thunderbird. The thinking was, this novel idea would bring customers into showrooms wanting to see the electric roof in action, after which they would turn around and immediately buy a normal Fairlane. The Skyliner lasted for a few more years, but adapting the idea for the 1964s wasn't worth the hassle, as their lower roof would have been too much of a challenge to adapt to a convertible design. And also, nobody was really buying these, so once again the idea of a hardtop, automatically folding roof lay dormant for a few decades, being relegated to expensive custom conversions for the most part, like the Ford Taunus Sport-O-Lay. The 90s featured the comeback of the Roadster, mainly thanks to the Mazda MX-5, with cars like the BMW Z3 or Porsche Boxster and many others being introduced. It wouldn't be until 1996, however, when Mercedes-Benz revolutionized the segment with their idea of a hardtop folding roof, dubbed the Vario roof, which made its debut on the SLK-2 concept car and later the production model of the same name. Mercedes wanted the SLK to be a technologically advanced roadster appealing to younger buyers, and this was their idea on how to achieve that. The metal roof was divided in half, which would lift away into the boot. This design kept the rear deck short and, as most of the mechanism was constructed using lightweight materials, it was actually quite light in the end, the base car weighing around 1,270 kilograms. And because it's pre-2000s Mercedes we're talking about, they made sure that this roof worked. Around 30 prototypes went through the process of opening and closing the automatic roof 20,000 times in a row, proving that the idea was viable. Another thing that proved that this was a good idea was the fact that by the end of its run, Mercedes had sold over 310,000 original SLKs. This is what is referred to in the automotive business as "kann viele Autos verkaufen", or selling a lot of cars. Naturally, this meant that everybody else had to get in on the fun. If Mercedes was successful with this concept, why couldn't they be? The man who had supervised the SLK project would then go on to design the Peugeot 206cc, engineered by the French coach builder Houllier. Peugeot had been the first automaker to build a car with a retractable hardtop 60 years earlier, and now with the 206cc, they would truly popularize it. Because not everybody has Mercedes money to throw around. All in all, Peugeot would go on to sell about 500,000 206 cabriolets, easily becoming one of the best-selling convertible cars in history. It shows that the idea of a folding metal roof could be done on ordinary family cars and not just on specialized sports cars. So guess what happened next? Europeans went crazy. Peugeot launched the 307cc and Renault the Megane CC in 2003, with Opel following with the Tigra and Astra twin tops later. Ford, as always, was a little late to the party and launched the Focus CC in 2007, Volkswagen wanted to be different with their EOS, so that thing became the only convertible available with a panoramic sunroof. Yeah, that makes sense. The craze then extended to both Japan and the US, where Pontiac produced the G6 convertible, Chevrolet sold the SSR pickup, and Chrysler offered the Sebring convertible. Unlike all others, the Sebring was offered with both a retractable hardtop and a soft top. An immense amount of choice for a terrible car. And even if a manufacturer didn't actually offer a hardtop in their lineup, they were definitely thinking about them, with brands like Hyundai and Fiat showing off their almost production-ready looking offerings as concept cars. Except for Audi. They never bothered with this idea and stuck to fabric roofs. News outlets even reported on how odd this was, considering that BMW, Volvo, Mercedes, Infiniti, Lexus, everybody had at least one offering. But not Audi. Perhaps Audi realized it was best to avoid trying to sell a dump truck butt. Unlike the SLK, a strict two-seater, nearly every model offered by other manufacturers was a four-seater, meaning the metal roof had to cover a much larger area, while still having to fit in the boot when stowed away. In most cases, this resulted in ugly, fat, bloated, tall rear ends, something that went against the premise of a stylish, cool convertible. Some manufacturers tried to remedy this by splitting their roofs into more and more sections. The Astra Twin Top had a 3-piece roof, while the one on Volkswagen's EOS was split into 5 different sections. But what this did was just increase the complexity, weight, and the price tag. Maybe it were these factors that caused the downfall of the hardtop cabriolet. Most of them had been killed off by the early 2010s, with a few companies like Peugeot and Renault trying to hold on to the dream for a few more years. Maybe it was because, despite their metal designs, the CC still failed to address the biggest problem that all convertibles face: water leaks. Maybe, but I don't think any of these factors matter much. I think they were all destined to fail from the start. Let's have a look at the two cars that started this craze. The original Mercedes SLK came out during a time where roadsters received a second life, during a time where they were popular again. The SLK would have sold well regardless of whether it had a cool, futuristic looking roof or not. It was simply the right car at the right time. As for the popularity of Peugeot's 206 Cabriolet, that wasn't an anomaly. The 206, in all of its variations, was an immensely popular car, with more than 5 million of them being sold. In Europe, worldwide, its sales crossed the 8 million mark. The Cabrio was lucky to be a part of the 206 hype train. Soft top or hardtop, these two would have been popular in any case. When it came time to end its production run, the SLK and later SLC line had sold over 700,000 units, nearly half of those being the first generation model, the second and third generation cars sharing the other half. By the time it was discontinued, roadsters weren't popular anymore, and the novelty of seeing an electric metal roof in action had worn off. Most would attribute this sharp decline to the ever-growing popularity of SUVs, but I disagree. The fall of convertibles has gone hand in hand with the rise of panoramic sunroofs. Their take rates keep on rising every year. People have simply understood you don't need to live with the downsides of a cabriolet to experience an open roof ride. Opel replaced the hardtop Astra with the soft-top Cascada in 2013. The Cascada was killed off without a successor in 2019, a clear sign that the party was over. Thank you so much to all Corsa members. There's at least 90 new ones. So with that, thank you to H, The Real Emil, Chuji Fan, Oldsmobile Calais, LCM Matt, Martin Fan, Bart B. Ben, Fewstar, Sakuma, Future Boy Design, I Sold My Soul for a Corsa Car membership program, Baran, Duck and H, E90, Dark Gaze, Noobsa78, Lazy Arls, Molly Cube, Nerd Alert, Ethan Shock, Will K7, Lex Jenis, Sunandan Gosh, Nerd, Spoggy99, 5 Cryption, Diego, Einke KX Kutter, Fish's Tales, Marcy, Dead King Walking, Mayflower, Juan Martin Fasadi, X-Wave 06, Says 09, Aussie H-Set, Fermay Jack, Flame Fam, RP75, Tan Sass, Al Bay, Nihilus Firm, Your FBI Agent, Taran Zuang, K4G6, Random Dude, Preemy 7 Stancia David, Nosfervt, William Scott, Cheats Trippin, Baskara, Bartek, Joseph Liangzanov, Okan 124, Griffin Kempster, Jaden Arenas, Ardian Citrowaskita, Sydney 2410, Yauma 9, Don, Ahmed Sahid, Splizu, Enrico Torres, Red Hoodie 50, Exorizor, Adam, Ilger Tuna, QBWIZTT, Kurik, Demilon, Panupong Nunil, Kushothi, Ananzi, 8-Bit, Flying Plastic, Revolver George Harrison, Corsa, Akino, Nether Forager, IUXI, Rayhan Aikal, Medium, O3 Garage, Garfi, Twiandra, AK Diecast, Ivan Sridana, Eric Garcia, Martz Gaming, Spotty117, Bemsen, Dead Orchid, Mikhail Marquois, A1 Automotive, Pfeffel, Fikar, Berat, Stradale, O2 Bungus, BDV Path, Evan Crawford, The Kid 27, XCHX, and Gray.